Gardner Selby, a political writer for the American-Statesman, here with an update after the 7 o'clock hour. Polls close in Texas at 7, of course. I was assured by a spokesman for the Secretary of State's office that if you have a pal in line, they're going to get a chance to vote. This individual wasn't personally updated at that time whether there were long lines anywhere in the state, but you've got to bet that there are lines somewhere and that you can still vote. I've also been reminded in the last half hour of the difference between the old media, folks like newspapers and TV networks, and the new media, social networks, as far as how to cover this campaign. The old media, CNN and CNN.com, are being very careful about how they report states going to one candidate or the other. When I was watching about 5-10 minutes ago, they had Obama with about 77 delegates based on projections, McCain with 34. Florida's vote had been going Obama's way, but they weren't ready to commit Florida to Obama with only 15% of the vote committed. They did put our neighbor state, Oklahoma, in McCain's column. I'm pretty sure almost before the polls closed in Oklahoma, they said it was for McCain. But they did say, for instance, in regard to another state I mentioned earlier tonight, Pennsylvania, we're going to be extra conservative. Meanwhile, here in Texas, the actual returns are starting to come in, and I can tell you, based on a quick look, again, at very partial returns. We're talking only a few precincts. McCain and Senator Cornyn of Texas are both ahead by about 75% to 25% margins. If you're rooting for Bob Barr, he had 25 votes a few minutes ago. If you're rooting for Ralph Nader, he had 1 in very incomplete returns out of Texas. We had a phone call here at the Statesman newsroom in the 6 o'clock hour from an individual who was seeking a ride to the polls. We did our best to refer them to both political parties here in Austin, and perhaps they got their ride. But again, if you're in line or if you have a pal who's in line, they can still vote. Now, the new media, social network, I don't know how to describe it, but the way we're all keeping up with the world these days, including this way, came to my attention just a second ago because I saw a post by a prominent Republican blogger who I'm not identifying right now because I'm not sure they want to be entirely public. But this individual said, "We lost." This is a McCain supporter. And when the individual wrote, "We lost," I wrote them back, and some others did too, saying, "How do you know?" And this individual wrote back, "It's not just the exit polls. It's not just the polls taken by the networks that are being analyzed right now." This individual wrote, "Florida is bluer than we need." That means it's going more Democratic than the McCain's camp needs. North Carolina's Senator Elizabeth Dole, is losing by unexpected margins. That can't be a good sign for the Republicans in that state. And we can't win Pennsylvania. Remember, those states, that state, Florida and Pennsylvania, are both in that comment from the blogger. Those are both states that I thought earlier tonight that everybody thought were going to be somewhat of bellwether states for this national election tonight. Again, you've got the networks being very careful, saying we're going to be conservative about our projections tonight, keeping in mind the 2000 and 2004 presidential races. And then you have a blogger who's been following as closely as anybody, confessing to friends and to people like me, reporters, we lost. That's his point of view. That's not a confirmation. That's just an example of how different individuals, different entities are interpreting this election as the returns roll in tonight. I'll have an update again later.